there was euphoria on the Saunier Duval team bus after the victory on Stage 1 of the Vuelta of the mercurial cycling pendulum, McNuggets-McNulty. Nor did they mind that each rider had to pay 500 Swiss francs to wear a jersey commemorating the Slovenian aliens' Giro and Tour victories during the Vuelta presentation. So heightened was the sense of euphoria that even the popular team manager, Moonlight Machin, he didn't mind posing in a historic photograph with Ruben Tiago Alves Pereira, the Sabgal team manager who, as we have uncovered in recent videos, paid 17,000 euros to the controversial Dr. Meinar for his services, which included receiving vials of menotropin from a postal service company. It is an iconic image of what cycling is today, not only because we see the good profile of Ruben Pereira in the photos is the right one, but also because of the strange relationships between teams and characters in the closed and complex world of professional sports. There was also euphoria on the rival team bus, that of Rabobank, not because of the Belgian bot's time trial result, third on one of the 5 stages he'd earmarked to win, but rather because of the result of our beloved Danish anchovy, more than 3,200 kilometers away in the Tour de Pologne. In this race, where a fresh-faced Jonas still smelling of his labour cleaning fish, that was where he took his first win as a professional in 2019, along with his doped teammate Antoine Tolhoek, shortly before evading a doping control. Vingegaard was once again reunited with the feeling of victory on a general classification 6 months after the last one, and he celebrated in this nice guise. He won without ever shining. He was just the most regular in the time trials. He did it without attacking. And we also saw how the new Belgian superstar, Nice, beat him on 3 different stages, a rider with 9 victories in 2024 for Radio Shack. A rider who comes from cyclocross as a great promise, and yet he has now exploded as a great puncheur in road cycling. You know, the trajectories of young people today look so strange, don't they? Now look, if you want to see video every day on the Vuelta a España, subscribe to the channel, and also you can follow us on our new Twitter account, @UncleCycling. There's a link in the posted comments. And now, yes, let's move on to analyse today's stage. Almost 200 kilometres lie in wait for the riders. A day with a slightly broken profile, but in principle it should all come down to a sprint finish between Cascais, the paradise of builders on the beach and foreign politicians who come to spend the money they've stolen, and Ourém, a small town sold for medieval tourism and the place where some priests pressured poor children to generate the Catholic myth of the Virgin of Fatima, one which deposits so much money in the Portuguese coffers. An ideal place to generate a hagiographic and ultimately false atmosphere, like that of professional cycling. In these first stages of the Vuelta, the riders will have to face an enemy to which they are already accustomed, thanks to their training in rooms full of heaters. The heat, well, it's always the heat, isn't it? And they can prepare for it. But on the other hand, can they prepare for a possible lack of control due to a lack of great sprinters? Well, we do know that there are non-aggression packs in the peloton, and so the biggest fear that we have before the start is that it would all end up with another ride without attacks by the peloton. Again, the Belgian bot looks like the main candidate to win today's stage, with a slightly uphill finish, suited to his characteristics. But we should also look particularly at 2 other men. The Australian who only wins in Spain, and therefore ideal to sign for the Astana team, Kaden Groves of the hair doping team. And then there's the young Czech, with no victories until 2 weeks ago, enrolled in the dangerous Sunweb team, Pavel Bittner. There are other sprinters of a slightly lower level, such as Brian Coquard, Corbin Strong, or Arne Marit. There's always options there, of course. But can you imagine Javier Guillen giving the stage winner's prize to a rider who few people know even exists? Anyway, let's start with the day's summary. As many expected, the stage was complete garbage. He didn't follow the Tour de France format of no attacks, but the classic YouTuber Alex Dowsett had told us years ago about the mafia pacts of the peloton. Pedalists from teams invited to the race were in the breakaway, and never with more than 4 escapees. On this occasion, the 2 invited teams were the Spanish squads, Kern Pharma and Euskaltel-Euskadi, and the 2 escaped riders were from these teams. For Kern Pharma, there was a Spaniard with no professional victories and a 7th place behind Mauricio Moreira in a Volta Alentejo, a man by the name of Ivan Ruiz. For Euskaltel, a man we already told you to look out for, 40-year-old linchpin Luis Angel Mate, a man whom channel fan Javier Solá is definitely admirer of, a man who had just won the hilarious Volta Portugal. Evidently they didn't get a big enough lead to scare a peloton that was becoming increasingly more aware of external news, and so they rode along 40 minutes behind the slowest scheduled time. A real shame, something which I imagine will delight the unwary Portuguese politicians who fell into Javier Guillen's trap of using the Vuelta a España as an attractive product to sell to foreign countries, albeit ones with no link to this competition. Now, some of that external news that caught the attention of the peloton was the emergence of a new monster from the Astana team, the 22-year-old Kazakh Ilkan Dostiev. Until this season, he'd never won a single race, but in recent months he'd been able to finish 2nd in the Tour of Rwanda by crushing a ghost of the past like the White Kenyan, 2nd in the Giro del Valle d'Aosta behind Belgian super talent Jano Vidar, and now he's taken the win in an impressive Astana show at the Turul Romane in Romania, including hat-tricks for the under-23 team of the doped military man and World Grand Fondo champion Alexander Vinokourov. Watch out for this character, we will soon see him in the World Tour. Another character known to all is podcaster Dylan van Baarle, the boyfriend of the hilarious Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. This time he suffered yet another mid-stage crash, while his teammate, the mummy who, in his own words, came close to testing positive, Robert Hessink, he led the pack behind the 40-year-old Lynx and the unknown Kern Pharma rider to try to help his leader bot win another stage victory. With 52 kilometers to go, they were caught, and then, only in the last 30k was there a bit of action, with the ascent to the Alto de Battaglia, that served for Stefan Kung to take away from the 40-year-old Lynx his much-longed-for King of the Mountains jersey. As they arrived at the village, where one of the biggest scams of modernity was generated, it was Eduardo Affini who set up the sprint oh so competently for his bot teammate. But then, right behind, the other big favourite of the day appeared, Kaden Groves, and he finished off the Olympic medalist very easily, achieving for the 3rd consecutive year a victory in the Vuelta a España. Why go to the Tour de France and suffer when you can go to these village races and prove that your hair doping is more than enough? The bot had to settle for 2nd place, but by way of consolation he got, leader of the race, the red jersey, and that covers all the deficits of a stage that reached the finish almost an hour late, one with hardly any action and with hardly any public on the roads. A sprint in which the doping-sanctioned Van Eetveld finished 5th, and the climber without nationality, Mr. Vlasov, finished 8th. Anyway, even if Ferrand-Prévot's boyfriend had dropped out, it will still be sold as a success, because a superstar like Van Aert is already the leader of the race, thanks to some time bonuses. You see, what Javier Guillen and the guy who almost died again, Oscar Pereiro, want, they want cyclists recognised all over the world to be the ones wearing their red jersey. If you think about it, it's more than a little Machiavellian. Well, while you're here, take a look at the video on the screen. That one. You will love it.